Jaya Jaya Shankara Hara Hara Shankara Jaya Jaya Shankara Hara Hara Shankara Jaya Jaya Shankara Hara Hara Shankara Jaya Jaya Shankara Hara Hara Shankara. What was Adi Shankara's mission? What is Sanatana Dharma? What do the Vedas and the Upanishads reveal? We need answers to these questions to understand the life and mission of Sri Adi Shankara. Sanatanam means eternal or everlasting. Dharmam means code of conduct. So, a set of practices were laid out as rules for universal functioning and prosperity. The Vedic literature contained these rules of conduct and was passed on through the Rishi Guru Sishya Parampara. The terms Parabrahmam, Vedam and Dharmam are interchangeably referred to in the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads as Sanatanam. Collectively are ever present, eternal, without a beginning or an end. Vedam is considered to be the breath of the Supreme. Just like a newborn takes its first breath to come alive, we can't say if the Supreme was born from the Vedas or vice versa. So, the Supreme and the Vedas are ever coexistent even before creation. Hence, the message of the Vedas are eternal and universal. Sri Adi Shankara's mission was to re-establish this truth. The Chatur Yugas had its own Yuga Dharma on how to attain mukti or salvation. In Satya Yuga, through prolonged tapas or meditation, we have heard of rishis in deep meditations for many years. In Treta Yuga, by performing extensive yajnas, there are records of yajnas being conducted for over 500 years continuously. In Dwapara Yuga, by elaborate and meticulous deity worship. In Kali Yuga, lifespan is much shorter compared to the three previous yugas to attain mukti. Hence, there was a dire need to simplify Vedanta to the common man. The Purva Mimamsa or the Karma Kanda of the Vedas elaborated more on the sacrificial rituals and practices. The Uttara Mimamsa or Upanishads contains the philosophical speculation on the revelations of the Vedas, nature of the reality, purpose of life, and self-realization. As Kali Yuga dawned, the misinterpretations of the ritualistic practices led to the anti-Vedic movement by the Buddhists. Adi Shankara wanted to re-establish the essence of the Vedas through Vedanta by presenting it with diverse Vedantic principles into a cohesive, wonderful system of thought. The term Vedanta refers to the philosophy of Advaita. Advaita Siddhanta is neither new nor was it founded by Sri Shankara. It is mentioned in the Upanishads. Lord Krishna preaches it in the Bhagavad Gita. Sri Vedavyasa explains the same in the Brahma Sutra. As time went on, the weak interpretations, multiple incorrect philosophies, and atheistic arguments against Advaita led to the confusion and misgivings. Sri Adi Shankara made it his mission to articulate how to implement Advaita for Kali Yuga. The practice of Sanatana Dharmam survived many challenges entirely due to the efforts of Sri Adi Shankara. Dharmam can be classified as Samanya Dharmam and Visesha Dharmam. What is Samanya Dharmam? The ancient sage Manu prescribed 10 essential rules for observance of Dharma. Patience, Urudi. Forgiveness, Shama. Piety or self-control. Honesty, sanctity. Control of senses, Indriya Nigraha. Reasoning. Knowledge or Vidya, learning. Truthfulness, Satya. An absence of anger, Akrodha. The rules of the Samanya Dharma are the 10 human qualities that distinguishes human from animal. These rules are applicable for every human irrespective of faith, religion, caste, creed or country. Vishesha Dharma is practicing the above 10 rules through the 4 stages of personal life, that is Brahmacharya, student, Grihastha, householder, Vanaprastha, retiree, or Sannyasa, renuncier. According to each varnashramam or role in society, the 4 varnas in today's context can be described as Brahmana as a thinker who works using his intellect, or in a corporate scenario, an architect. Kshatriya as an administrator or a leader. Vaishya, a businessman or in sales. Sudra, a worker or an individual contributor. Vishesha Dharmam changes according to age, role, duty and relationship. But all humans at any time are in any one of the stages practicing any one of these duties in life, both personal and social. Hence, the Samanya Dharma is applicable to every human being and hence universal. Thus, we can see the rules of the Sanathana Dharmam are universal. It is not a religion but a way of life. Sri Sankaracharya sums up the entire message of Vedanta in 3 crisp sentences. They are Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mityam, Jivo Brahmaiva Napara. Brahman, the Absolute, alone is real. The world is unreal, Maya, and the Jiva or the individual soul is not different from the Brahman. What is the universe or Jagat? Brahman alone is sole reality and everything is an illusionary manifestation of the Brahman. Reality or Brahman has the power to take any form in the universe without undergoing any modification. How Brahman manifests itself is beyond human comprehension. What is Atman or soul? The Atman is the individual human soul clothed in the living form and is called Jiva. The Jiva or individual soul is essentially the same Brahman and is therefore self-luminous, unlimited and free. Its limitedness is the result of Maya and Avidya or lack of awareness, resulting in a dual nature of the Jiva. Advaita Vedanta identifies 4 states of experience for a Jiva. They are the waking state, Jagrat Avastha, the dream state, the Swapna Avastha, the deep sleep state, Shishupti Avastha, the pure consciousness state, Turiya. The world of duality is available for our experience only in the waking and the dream state. But in a deep sleep state, we are not aware of any objects or any world of plurality. It is a state where we experience only the knowledge of ignorance. We neither know the truth or falsehood. In the Turiya state, the entire plurality world rolls away and the experience of the non-dual reality alone remains as eternal truth. For Turiya is Brahman, indivisible and immanent. Hence, attaining this state of experience is the highest upasana or worship. Maya is a cosmic illusion which makes the Jiva experience duality. Maya presents to the human mind reality broken up into subject and object. Maya has no real entity and has only an apparent existence. And the moment truth is known, it is dissolved. As a result, we, the ordinary human beings, identify ourselves with our body-mind complex and regard ourselves as separate individuals limited in space, time, and entity, subject to all the changes. As a result, we, the ordinary human beings, identify ourselves with our mind-body complex and regard ourselves as separate individuals limited in space, time, and entity, subject to all the changes, joy and sorrows of life, and go through the cycles of birth and death. When we understand that we are not different from the infinite Brahman, we are freed from this cycle. Until this happens, one goes through the cycle of rebirth. Vedanta emulates three kinds of reality: imaginative, transitional, and absolute. Paramarthika Satya, the ultimate metaphysical reality of the Brahman, what we call as the eternal truth. Vyavaharika Satya, the pragmatic or empirical reality which is experienced by humanity as a whole for all the time. This is true only until Brahmajnanam is attained. Pratibhashika Satya, the apparent reality which belongs to the objects of illusions, hallucinations, and dreams. This is privately experienced and is of short duration. For example, mistaking a rope for a snake seems real only during the time of perceptions. Or at the Paramarthika level, the absolute reality, there is only the non-dual attribute-less Brahman, which is Nirguna Brahman. At the Vyavaharika plane, as a lower order of reality, Brahman exists with qualities or form, Saguna Brahman, and is called Ishvara. This form of Ishvara, Saguna Brahman, has all the characteristics of what is called a personal God, the creator, preserver, and destroyer of the world, and a friend and a savior of the finite souls. This enables a spiritual aspirant, Jiva, to go through the rituals of devotion and worship and gradually acquire knowledge of the self through meditation. The speciality of Advaita Vedanta is it does not make any distinction between gods of one religion and another. An aspirant can accept any faith, follow any ritual or practice. The worship in this plane is meant as a preparatory and purificationary discipline, and from this he has to move to the next stage of identifying himself with the Supreme Spirit, the Brahman. From a metaphysical standpoint, both Jiva and Ishvara are Brahman. But on the phenomenal level, from the religious standpoint, their relationship is in terms of master and servant. Ishvara, the master, knows his oneness with the Brahman and therefore enjoys eternal bliss. Whereas Jiva, the servant, is ignorant of this higher divine origin and is therefore subject to the self-deceptive trials and tribulations of a mundane existence. Sri Shankara prescribes Jnana Marga for self-realization, but a mere intellectual apprehension of the Advaitic truth is of no avail. Only through a systematic approach can this be achieved through Shravana, formal study, Manana, reflection or introspection, and Nididhyasana, meditation. In Advaita, moksha is not something which has to be attained thereafter. The essential nature of every jiva is already Brahman, and only the veil of ignorance has concealed its real nature, and therefore the jiva undergoes pains of samsara until it realizes its inherent divinity. Therefore, the jiva does not lose its individuality in moksha, but the limitations of that individuality are overcome by knowledge, and immediately here, right now, it attains universal Brahman. We superimpose many layers of attachment, desires, which result in pain and suffering. Just as our interests and desires are changing with age, time, and maturity, we move on to understand the different planes of existence of truth, consciousness, and ultimately understand the Supreme. Every creature wants security and happiness, and all our efforts are always towards procuring happiness or means of happiness. Security or means to make us secure. What is happiness and suffering also changes from time to time. That experience of happy or sad is at the moment of existence. In deep sleep, all of us are content. What do we experience? Nothing. Advaita says that nothing is the real nature state of the Atma. According to Shankara, karma is necessary only for the purification of the being. A person is expected to perform karma in accordance with their role in personal and social life. Once your duties are fulfilled, thereafter karma can be abandoned and the self-realized being abides to jnana alone. For the one who has attained Advaita Sakshatkara realization, he need not give up karma. It will leave him on its own. Hence, until one attains Advaita Sakshatkara, one must perform actions, karma. Many slokas in Bhagavad Gita directly refer to the essence of Advaita. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Gavi Hastini, Shunichaiva Swapakecha, Panditaha Samadarshinaha. The learned who has acquired Brahmajnanam will see everything as Brahman, beyond the form of an educated or illiterate human, cow, dog, or elephant. In all the varied manifestations of nature, they see the underlying Atma without distinction. Each man is looking at things from a particular plane of vision. The most ignorant man looks upon objects only from the physical plane. They are pleased or displeased according to these physical distinctions. Deha Drishti. The next class of people look upon objects from the mental plane. They consider the character of a man, his mental makeup, his intellectual powers, other talents which are exhibited in him. This is the mental outlook, Manodrishti. The highest class of people look upon all things from the spiritual plane and they find God or reality in everyone. They penetrate to the innermost recesses of the heart through the outer coverings of the mind and body. Their vision is that of the one Brahman, Atman, being the essence of all things. This is Atmic outlook or Atma Drishti. They understand that all the apparent distinctions and differences of name and form are created by the power of Maya. The differences will always exist. Each living being has its own qualities, attributes, and each human plays many different roles which are never interchangeable. Then, how do we practice Advaita with differences? Bhava Advaitam Sada Kuryat, Kriya Advaitam Na Karhi Chit. Advaita can be practiced without inhibitions only by renounced ascetics. For all others living a life with commitments, always cultivate Advaita in your heart, but never in your day-to-day activities or in action. Like the thread remains invisible, yet holds the pearls in a necklace, likewise, we hold the Advaita understanding in our mind and practice Dvaita with the differences. This balance, emotional maturity comes only with Brahmajnanam. In Bhava or understanding, we hold Advaita within, which is the Paramarthika Satya, Brahman or eternal truth. In Kriya or practice, action, for the outside world, we practice Dvaita according to the Dharma, which is the Vyavaharika Satya. Adi Shankara Bhagavatpada was not a mere individual, but an institution. He re-established Sanatana Dharma to its pristine glory. He wrote 3 kinds of works: Bhashyams, Prakarana Granthams, and meditative hymns. He debated against wrong beliefs along the length and breadth of India and eradicated many false practices. He prepared his disciples to continue his mission. He set up 4 mats for future propagation of Vedantic studies. The 4 matas, Amnaya Peetam, throne of the Vedas. Jagadguru Adi Sankaracharya established 4 centers of learning in the 4 corners of the country for the preservation and propagation of the 4 Vedas, and appointed each of his prime ascetic disciples as the heads of each center respectively. This was a new bold effort, as sannyasis until then were only wandering monks. He had the foresight to see the need for such reform in Sanatana Dharma. He renovated or established many temples and installed yantras. He made Vedanta more accessible to the common man. He showed the path of moksha and not Swarga as Jnanam through Karmam and Bhakti. He brought nation and religion together, Desha Bhakti with Deva Bhakti. He grouped the entire Hindu pantheon of gods under 6 principal deity forms and established the Shanmatham. Ganapatyam, the worship of Ganapati. Kaumaram, the worship of Lord Subramanya. Sauram, the worship of sun, planets and nature. Vaishnavam, the worship of Vishnu. Shaivam, the worship of Shiva. And Shaktam, the worship of Devi. He revived an ancient practice called Panchayatana Puja. In this puja, the 5 major deities, Shiva, Vishnu, Devi, Surya and Ganapati are worshipped. The sadhaka or devotee can put his beloved form of the god in the center and place the other 4 around. The important purpose of doing the Panchayatana Puja is to overcome the Bheda Bhava among the different deities of various sects. Sri Shankara chose 5 kinds of stones from various locations in India, strategically connecting the water bodies, culture, while uniting the nation and faiths. For Shivan, Banam from the Narmada river in Madhya Pradesh. For the Ambal, it's the Swarnareka Shila from the river Swarnamukhi in Andhra. For Vishnu, the Saligramam from the Kantaki river in Nepal. For Surya, it's the Spatikam from the Vallam lake in Tanjavur. And for Ganapati, it's the Sonabhadram from the Sonabhadra river in Patna. He grouped the 12 Jyotirlingams in the Dwadasha Linga Stotra, connecting all the auspicious shrines from Kedarnath to Rameshwaram. Sri Shankara is described as one who swept off the thorns that encumbered the various forms of worship of the 6 manifestations of the god. Worship of these deities had waned in our land due to the inroads of Buddhism and Jainism. It was Sri Shankara who rescued them from oblivion and rid some of their unholy practices. Hence, Sri Shankara is gratefully spoken of as the Shanmata Pratishtapaka Acharya, which means he was not the one who established the 6 forms of worship for the first time, but the one who revived and gave strength and stability to the existing ones.